What is going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new video where I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to be running you through my brand new single, Close the Door, and how I produced the track, how we wrote the track, everything about it, and you can see a completely new insight into the behind the scenes of how I got this record from the pure song it was right up until the finished product, which you are hearing today. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
Where to go? Close the door and leave it all behind. Close the door and leave it all behind.
Cool, so what I'm going to do first is play the track, have a listen, and show you what it was sounding like way before it got to mixing, mastering, what you're hearing now. This is the production. We have pretty much everything we need. We have the real meat of the production here. So we're all good to go. I will play the track and you can see what it sounds like.
Can't think of anywhere I'd rather be now. Still look as beautiful as ever somehow. To me, the sun is dancing off your freckly skin. Could lay in bed all day with you counting them. So stay with me, just stay. But I know when the sun starts coming through, you get up and take the covers with you. If you gotta go, should we both just call in sick? I just wanna stay in bed. A day in bed ain't no waste with you. Close the door and leave it all behind. Leave your clothes on the floor and let the time pass by. You and me and the radio, the times we've got nowhere to go. Close the door and leave it all behind. Is it time for our forever to begin? Do you think about looking this in? I'll take the knee, I will. I'm pretty sure that we're both on the same page. Still together in our old age. I'll be there, oh, I will. Close the door and leave it all behind. Leave your clothes on the floor and let the time pass by. You and me and the radio, the times we've got nowhere to go. Close the door and leave it all behind. Close the door and leave it all behind.
Yes, that is it. It's sounding a little bit different, but that is very normal for a production session compared to what it sounds like once it's mixed, got all the good stuff in it. So I'm going to run you through exactly what we did in the process of making this, and I'm going to start at the very beginning. So this song was written on a writing camp with three awesome people, Harrison, Barbara and Pankaj. I believe it was just after lunchtime, just after midday, we wrote it in the UK. The camp was split basically into two sections of each day. There was 3 days. We had morning session and afternoon/evening session. So you ended up getting 2 writing sessions, so 2 songs per day. So you end up with around 6 songs. They can be for anyone who is in the session. You have artists, producers, writers. So depends who's really in the session. But in this session, I went in and said to the guys I'd love a piano ballad for my own artist project. And at the time that was a different artist project, but it has evolved and adapted, and it's become the one that you can see right now. So we basically wrote that, and we were going for a kind of wedding song, which started off with the influence of kind of writing for a wedding song, but turned into basically that song that you listen to on a lazy Sunday morning when you're laying in bed with your girlfriend or boyfriend or partner, and you just don't want to get up. You want to stay there for the whole day. The sun's coming through the curtains or the window. You've got breakfast, coffee, and you're just so content with where you're at. And this, I feel like it hits that perfectly, because that's how I feel whenever I listen to this song. Whenever I sing it, whenever I listen to it, makes me want to just be immediately in that moment in bed, laying there, relaxing with my girlfriend, just chatting, having a laugh, and drinking coffee, and seeing the sun come through the window, and not have any worries or responsibilities for that day. And I believe that is what it kind of brings to people, and that is something that I'm very happy that I can share, hopefully, that feeling with you guys, where you can listen to the song and just forget about things for a second. But deeper than that, it was about appreciation of your partner and loving them for the way they are, loving these little things about them, and they are the things that you will love forever. And it's about just whether you can sing the song, play the song to someone, whether it's at a wedding or just in your apartment, in your house, or over a call, whatever it is, just showing that appreciation for your partner. And that's what I love about the song. So I'm forever grateful for them for helping me write the song, because I also believe it perfectly encapsulates that reason that we write with other people. It shows as a great example that something that I wouldn't have been able to write by myself because of my kind of style, but then me connecting with others who have their own influences, their own inspiration, coming together and writing something that I think melody and instrumentation that was all those aspects are things that just felt completely new. I don't have a song that's anywhere near like this one. The way the melodies flow, the way everything about it is, it's just so new for me, and I knew that I had to get it out as a single and just share it to the world, because I feel like it's a very special song. So we're going to get into the production. To begin with, I got the piano, and I worked with Sam Watson for this. His music on Spotify is under Sam's Scrapbook. It's really cool, so go listen to that. He's a great piano player too, and also a really good producer. He basically played it in, and we got the vibe, the style. I sent him pretty much the demo piano, and then said that you can have like free reign with the voicings, because his wheelhouse is getting those voicings really lovely and perfect, and he did such an amazing job because it sounds beautiful. And I feel like it fits the vibe perfectly for the track. It's the main part of the track, and it's something you have to really smash and get bang on because it's so important. And we used Bruno Mars' When I Was Your Man for the sound of the piano, that upright piano kind of sound, and just having that kind of reference really helped kind of bring this track all together. So then we moved on to the vocoder, which is basically 3 different tracks of different harmony. We have a bit of compression on. This is just a preset. I love the Slate virtual mix rack. It's great for like quick workflow where you can just whack a preset on because the point of this isn't to necessarily get it sounding amazing. That's what mixing's for, which we do completely somewhere else. But this is just to get it all together as in the moment when you're making it as quick as possible, because you just want it to flow basically and not have things hold you up too much. So I originally did a whole vocoder throughout the whole song, because I listened to Afterglow by Ed Sheeran and I loved how beautiful it sounded. Really minimalistic, really sparse with the vocoder the whole way, but it ended up not working out as I planned for that, so we just have it in a few little bits there and there, and I think it works great. I think it works really great. Next we have the vocals. They are basically 3 tracks. We have a lead vocal, and then a bit lower just to fill out and make the vocal sound bigger and not too thin. We have a double left and double right, and I pan them usually 40 to the left and 40 to the right, and then I process them. On each vocal I go through a process of melodyning, which is here, and that basically pulls everything into tune so it doesn't clash with other parts of the project, other instruments that are naturally by default in tune because they're instruments. For example, a synth, unless you detune it purposefully, it will be in tune. So if you're having a vocal on top of that that is out of tune, it basically can clash and make the track sound less clean and radio ready. So I basically do that. It's a long process, but it's really worth it. And then you bounce it out, and bounce basically means where you copy that information onto the track and make it onto a new track. And then after that we put a really, really light auto tuning on, and as you can see the amount is very little, and it basically just pulls everything in so it's very clean and sounding good. And I know tuning gets a bad rap in music because people think that it's a crutch for singers that can't sing in tune, which isn't the case, because regardless of a singer's ability to sing in tune, a lot of the time in our heads and to our ears, what we perceive as in tune on a recording can be very different. So it can be even by a few cents, which is a tiny amount when it comes to tuning, where you're off by, and that can stand out a lot more than, for example, if you were performing live. So these things really help to really pull that in so you don't have any standing out bits, and getting the track and the record sounding as clean as possible. And that is a process that is used through many, many different productions by different producers, just to, like I said, make it as clean as it can be and sounding great. But a lot of the time when you see singers using autotune, it is not a crutch they're relying on, but just something to get the record sounding as best it possibly can and not clashing with your other instruments. Then I just process it a bit for the sake of getting a demo that sounded good, and that kind of character in it and vibe, because it gives us a bit of reference going into the mix of, okay, this is kind of the ballpark I want my vocal to sound like. So we use an EQ, which basically cuts out all the frequencies where you can see. And without this, it sounds quite boomy, but with it, it sounds a lot more refined. So I will show you.
The sun is dancing off your freckly skin. Could lay in bed all day with you counting them. So stay with me, just stay. But I know.
So that kind of shows you that it has that more boomy sound without the EQ. And that is basically what we don't want in a track, because that can cause those kind of things that aren't nice for the listener. You don't want to hear that sound. And the same on the other end of the spectrum with sibilance. So sibilance is basically when I say sounds like S T it can be, and those really high frequency sounds that we basically try and roll off. So when a track is loud and the vocal is loud, it can be really harsh on the ears and almost hurt, especially if you're in earphones for the listener. So rolling it off and smoothing it out is really important when it comes to making a record. Compression. We have an exciter, which I didn't know what it actually did when I put this on. I just thought it sounded cool. And then we got this, which is one of my favorite EQs. It has all these different bits. I whacked a preset on, which was much easier. It gives a starting point, and then I use this thing called air, which basically raises the frequencies from about 20 to 30k, which is towards the top of a human's frequency spectrum of what they can actually hear. So it's really subtle, but it makes a big difference and kind of gives that silky, crisp effect to the vocal. And we just go with Saturn 2, which is amazing, by FabFilter. That's a saturator. And we get this, which I was doing for gain staging, which is, as you can see here, the sounds are all very similar, and that gets the vocal sounding very clean because there's no big dips in volume of the vocal. And you can see the waveform, which is basically the sound printed onto the session, if you like. They're all fairly similar. And then we go to backing vocals, which is very much the same thing, but one thing that I love is this, and it is called MYLWD by Slate, and it basically glues all of the backing vocals together, so they sound really coherent and they fit the track really nicely and don't stand out too much, because that can be quite jarring in the track if you've got a vocal or a harmony or something that's really sticking out. It kind of takes your attention away from the good parts of the track. And then I just whack reverbs on through these buses, and then I use a mix bus, which is really quick, but I've got a bit of EQ, compression, and a bit more compression, mastering kind of tool. That just gets it sound a bit louder for when I show people. It just adds a little bit to the general sound. It was really fairly simple actually to create this track. I started off, and as you can see, the session is called Close the Door New. I started off going down the route of trying to build too much. So I felt like the track needed to progress, and my first instinct was to go to instruments. But what I did through that was learn that you don't always need to progress the song through instrumentation. It basically ended up being too much with drums, bass, all of the things like that. It was way too much, and the more minimal approach to this, keeping it sparse, emotional, and letting the vocals really do the job with the piano. And it's such a beautiful piano that I didn't want it to be drowned out by anything else. So we did that. We also had bits that are missing, a couple synths that are really, really soft and in the background, which is why it's not a big deal that they're not here, as well as a slide guitar, which you probably will hear in the record. And that is pretty much it. It has been a pleasure showing you this. I can't wait to show you guys more. This is a very small session that didn't take too long to kind of get to a point where we're happy with it. But in the future there will be much longer videos, because there are songs that are about 4 times the length in terms of tracks than this one. So I look forward to that. But this has been very fun. I'm looking forward to doing more of these, a bit more technical videos, and show you behind the scenes of my brand new songs. Thank you so much for the support on Close the Door. Go stream it, and if you're already streaming, then please keep streaming, sharing to friends. It means the world. Get at me in the comments on this video or anywhere on my channel if you have any questions or want me to share anything else. I really enjoy this kind of stuff, so it would be a pleasure of mine and I really appreciate you all. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Lots of love. Peace.
Leave your clothes on the floor and let the time pass by. You and me on the radio, all the times we've got nowhere to go. Close the door and leave it all behind. Close the door and leave it all behind.